Have you heard the terrible story about Gene Hackman and his wife? She died of hantavirus, a terrible disease that is spread by rodents. And then he was left alone in the house with her, already passed, and he ended up passing also. He was 95 years old with advanced dementia and unable to care for himself or their dog that ended up being found dead in its crate. It is a terrible story about a caregiver who died before the person they were caring for. And you think, oh, this is a once-off thing that happens, but it's not. That's the scary thing. And this is a story that every caregiver out there needs to remember and think about, because it can happen to you and your loved one as well. Whether you're caring for your parents or you're caring for your spouse, you need to think about who's your backup and who's going to figure out if you've died. It's a terrible story that you don't want to think about. None of us want to think about passing, but we need to make sure that there is someone that can check in on us and know whether or not something's happened for the safety of that person that we're taking care of. And I was a neighbor to someone who was a full-time caregiver for his wife who had advanced dementia. And the same thing happened to him as happened to Gene Hackman's wife. He died suddenly. I don't know why he died, but we noticed one morning that there were 3 or 4 newspapers sitting out in their driveway. And so we went ahead and did a wellness check on him and found his wife still alive in the home, but the husband had died and she didn't know what to do because she had advanced dementia. And luckily that story ended up okay. She ended up getting placed somewhere else, but it's still not a story that I want to have happen to you or your loved one. It's not ideal. And so what can we do as a caregiver to make sure that this isn't going to happen? What parameters can we put into our life? So number 1 is to make sure that you have somebody checking in on you, whether that's a friend down the street, a neighbor, a relative, just somebody who's going to make that phone call once a day or a couple times a week that you're going to check in with. It doesn't have to be in person, because even someone at a distance can make that call to say, hey, I haven't heard, and call the police or call another backup to go ahead and come over in person. So that's the first thing you can do. Second is make sure that you have a plan in place, that if something happens to you, your loved one is still going to be cared for. And that means, you need to have someone that can step in and stay, or you need to have a facility chosen where they can go to, but make sure that you have a plan. But I think there's even a bigger message in this. And we in America have become very individualistic. We think that we can take care of things on our own, and we don't want to get overly involved in other people's lives. And so we need to think through that. If you're part of a church, who in your church is a solo caregiver, or maybe a person who is aging alone? And we need to make sure that we're checking in with those people. We need to make sure that we notice if they don't come to Wednesday night Bible study or to service on Sunday. And better yet, we need to just have routine check-ins. Or is there someone on your street that that is getting older and that needs somebody to check in on them? It's a two-way street. Both sides need to be checking in with other people who we know need that little bit of extra guidance and help for the safety of the people that are being cared for. So we don't want what happened to Gene Hackman and his wife happen to other people. So make sure that you've reached out and you've created a network with other people. Maybe even consider having someone live with you that is younger. When I was a college student pursuing my nursing degree, several of my friends in the nursing program found older people to live with. I was super jealous. I wanted to find that because it meant free rent. And, as a young college student without much money, I thought that would be the perfect answer. Unfortunately, I never found that person that I could live with. But, I was on a call just the other day with an older couple here, and they were super excited to hear about that concept. And they were going to call the local nursing college at my recommendation and see who they could find that would live with them. So there are people out there that are looking for someone to live with. So maybe a college student, maybe someone that's an early retired, or just somebody in your church or in your network of people that you know that could use that free rent. So instead of downsizing your house, open up a bedroom. Let somebody else be in there with you, helping you as you're aging or helping you as you care for your aging parent. It is so much easier to be a caregiver when you have a backup person. 2 people is really the ideal way to provide care to somebody so that you get time off and you're able to take care of yourself. Because that's the other part of Gene Hackman's story that I want people to think about. As a caregiver, you get tired and worn out. That neighbor of mine, he had cared for his wife for several years. It's exhausting. I've owned a care home for 10 years, and I can tell you that if it was just me caring for people, I would be exhausted. Luckily, I have my husband and my adult kids helping also, so I get days off. I get afternoons and evenings to go and do things and take care of myself. So as a caregiver, make sure you find somebody that can be your relief, even on a day-to-day basis, so that you can take care of yourself. That is one of the things that I hear over and over from caregivers is nobody is available to help me. All of my siblings live out of state or they're too busy with their careers, and I'm taking care of mom and dad by myself, and I'm getting tired and my body is being worn out. And so it's very important to take care of yourself so that you'll be there all the way through your loved one's journey. Because that's what we're all trying to do, is to be there for our loved one and not have them have to move into a facility, or if they are in a facility, to make sure that we're able to be there checking on them, because you're going to get the best care possible when you check on people that are in facilities. They need that little bit of checking so that you can make sure the facility is doing what it's supposed to do. That's my little tip on how to get best care. When I was a young caregiver, I never paid much attention to who came and went, but I can tell you my coworkers did. They would talk about it and say, hey, you've got to make sure that Mrs. Jones is clean today because the daughter always comes on Tuesdays. It's the only day the daughter comes, so that's the only day we got to really make sure that she's clean. So we don't want, even if you have your loved one in a facility, we don't want you to wear out. You got to be there checking and making sure that everything is going well. And it's a big, long journey. So take care of yourself. If you want more hints on caregiving, check out my videos. I love to provide info so that people can get the best care possible. I'll see you soon in that video.